Hello, second year students. I have done the second unit with you. I have done William Wordsworth in the second unit. I'll start with the third unit today, beta, of your paper, which is the paper 1. And I'm going to start with Ode to West Wind, okay, by Percy Bysshe Shelley. Now, Shelley is the younger romantic. I will give you, actually, I have started right away doing these videos for you. I will definitely give you, once we catch up on WhatsApp really nicely, I'll definitely give you a very great detailed analysis of what pre-romantic poetry is all about. At the moment, I'm going to start with an ode. Ode is supposed to be an invocation. It's supposed to be talking to somebody. It's supposed to be, and in ode, it is very important that some natural force is personified and talked to as a person. Okay, so about Shelley, of course, I would want to tell you that of all the romantics, there you have 5 major romantics, which is Wordsworth, then you have Coleridge. They are supposed to be senior romantics, and in the younger romantics, you have Keats, Shelley, and Byron. And out of these, Shelley is supposed to be, they are equally important, all of them. But Shelley and Keats were great friends, and the only difference, or the major difference between them, as they thought poetry to be, was that Keats believed in poetry for the art for the sake of art. He said he writes poetry for the sake of pleasure. He has no business other than writing. He writes poetry for pleasure, and that he has no other business in writing poetry other than giving pleasure. Whereas Shelley felt that his poetry should be a vehicle of carrying his idealism to all parts of the world. In the sense, he said any literary piece should actually give a message out to the world, and that was very important for him. So this is very beautiful. He is talking to, जिसे आप लोग पछुआ हवा कहते हैं, west wind. He is talking to the west wind, and this is supposed to be the most perfect ode, beta, because first he is talking to the west wind as it works on the earth, then how it works in the air, then how it works in the sea, and then he talks to himself. He talks about himself, and he compares himself with the west wind. And in the last stanza, he makes the west wind a bearer of a message that he wants to convey to the world. Okay, this is beautiful. This is very nice. He says, "O wild west wind, thou breath of autumn's being." He says, that wild, horrible wind which blows, the western wind which blows, it brings thunder and storm and lightning, and it's scary, and it's tumultuous, and it's noisy, and it has Mother Nature's power. It shows Mother Nature's power in it. So he says, "O wild west wind, thou breath of autumn's being." You are very wild, barbaric, sort of out of control, something that is scary, west wind. Thou means you are the breath. Breath means, beta, as if you are, autumn has come and autumn is breathing heavily, and that is maybe the west wind. You are the breath of, you signify autumn's being over there. You tell people that autumn is there, autumn has come. Thou from whose unseen presence the leaves dead are driven like ghosts from an enchanter fleeing. Thou means you, from whose unseen presence, better wind you can't see, but you can feel, things are flying, leaves are flying, things are flying, and trees are falling down, and people are hiding, all that. So unseen presence, you are not seen, but you're present there. The leaves dead are driven like ghosts. The dead leaves, it's because it is autumn time, spring has gone, winter is going to come. So this is autumn time when the leaves are falling. are driven like ghosts from an enchanter fleeing. And you know, the leaves like, you know, enchanter. The enchanter is the jadugar or the magician or the what do you call it, the baba जो भूत निकालता है. So that those, जब उनको देखता है तो the ghosts run away. So exactly, you know, when they see, when they feel and see the west wind, the leaves are just running away. Yellow, black, pale, and hectic red. And what are the colors of these leaves? Please, children, pay attention. They are yellow. Yellow and pale means dead, almost lifeless. They have no life in them. Pale again means no life, no energy. Hectic red, they are all old and grown, mature. That's why they are very, very red. Hectic means amazingly red in color. Pestilence stricken multitudes, and there are hundreds and hundreds of them. Pestilence stricken means, beta, they are, pestilence means disease. So they are disease stricken, they have been struck by disease, and there are multitudes, thousands and thousands and thousands. Beta, if you've been to England, आपको आश्चर्य होगा, वहाँ पर they have those special garis, you know, that those special, I don't know what are they called, but those, they just go about and they pick up all the leaves. They just, there is a rotator which moves and it keeps picking up leaves. Means, you know, if you don't pick up those leaves, they can come to your shoulder height. Such amazing fall of leaves in the autumn in these cold countries. O thou who chariotest to their dark wintry bed the winged seeds, and you are the one who chariotest means takes, you know, as if it's taking a rath or a chariot, and all the leaves and the seeds are sitting in it, and they actually take these wings to their dark wintry bed, you know, पूरे में seeds को बिखेर देती है, and then they lie low. Where winter is going to come, so they will lie in the earth, in the wintry bed. In wintry bed means in the cold bed, because it will be snow covered. Low, each like a corpse within its grave, and all these seeds will lie like corpse. Corpse means a dead body. So they will lie like dead bodies in their graves. Okay, but what will happen? Until then, azure sister of spring shall blow her clarion over the dreaming earth. Till that time, thine means your, azure means blue, blue means blue skies. Sister of the spring shall blow her clarion over the dreaming earth. This is beautiful. It says, winters may these leaves and these seeds will lie under the snow like dead bodies. Till that time, the blue skies of spring come. The spring blows her clarion, her trumpet, and wakes up the dreaming earth, the earth which has been lying under the cover of the snow, dreaming and sleeping. It will wake it up, okay, and fill with living hues and odors plain and hill. And when the springtime will come, living hues, beautiful colors will fill the ground and the fields, okay, and odors plain and lovely smells, lovely fragrance, okay, plain and hill, everything, whether it be the plain or the grounds or the hillocks, everything will be filled with beautifully colored flowers, beautifully fragrant flowers, and Mother Nature will actually become classy and beautiful. It will become springy and beautiful, driving sweet, and I'm reading that in the bracket, driving sweet buds like flocks to feed in air. And those amazing beautiful buds, you know, with their head upwards, they appear to be like sheep, flocks of sheep who want to breathe the beautiful air of spring, the warm, beautiful, fragrant air of spring. While spirit which art moving everywhere, destroyer and preserver, hear, oh hear. He says, you are wild spirit, you are like a ghost, you move here and there, everywhere, you destroy, you know, West Wind is destroying the seeds, but taking them to their graves, but at the same time preserving them. That is, when it is springtime again, they will sprout again, they will look beautiful again, and they will cover the mother earth with beautiful colors. He says, west wind, listen to me, I want to talk to you. Okay, so this was the action of the west wind on earth, how it moves on earth and how it acts on earth. And now the second one is beta. The second one is in the sky. What it does in the sky? जब पछुआ हवा चलती है, when the west wind blows, the sky gets filled with clouds. There's lightning and thunder, and there is all sorts of commotion, and you feel that the earth is going to come to an end. Okay, thou on whose stream mid the steep sky's commotion, loose clouds like earth's decaying leaves are shed. So you are so powerful. It appears that on your stream, what is your stream, beta? On your wings, amid the steep sky's emotion, you are blowing everywhere, and in the deep sky there is a commotion, there is a confusion, there is noise, there is thunder. Loose clouds like earth's decaying leaves are shed. और जैसे अर्थ के ऊपर जब वो चलती है तो सारे में पत्ते पत्ते बिखर जाते हैं, वैसे ही जब वो आसमान में चलती है तो द क्लाउड्स जस्ट गेट स्कैटर्ड एवरीवेयर, shook from the tangled bows of heaven and ocean. And what you have to understand is that, beta, that it appears that it is going to there is this big, it appear, you can imagine a tree with its roots in the earth and its head in the sky. So it appears that, and this is very scientific also, beta, from the oceans, when the oceans get hot, the evaporation takes place, and when evaporation takes place, the clouds are, the water gets condensed in the clouds, and the clouds are formed by the evaporation. So he is very scientifically telling you that, it appears that there is a huge tree of clouds, and from that tangled, entangled into each other, और एक दूसरे के अंदर उलझे हुए कुछ clouds के बिखर रहे हैं, angels of rain and lightning. And you also know that these clouds are the bearers. They are the angels, or they are the bearers of rain and lightning, means they bring thunder and rain. Okay, they are spread on the blue surface of thine airy surge. Blue, the blue surface of the of waves of the west wind. On them the clouds are just spread everywhere, like the bright head uplifted from the head of some fierce Minyad. And they appear. This is a very beautiful comparison where he says that Minyads are supposed to be the God. It's supposed Minyads are supposed to be goddess of fury, or they're supposed to be women who have very short temper. They're supposed to be supernatural powers whose hair just get uplifted because of the anger. It gets uplifted in the air, and so these clouds appear to be the hair of the Minyad, even from the dim verge of the horizon to the zenith's height, and from the very lightly visible, very less lighted horizon to the zenith's height, to the height of the sky. The locks of approach, you just see clouds and clouds and clouds everywhere, and you see that the storm is approaching, or the storm means the thunder and the lightning is going to now take place. Okay, the dirge of the dying year. Now this poem was written somewhere on the 31st of December. So he says, you are the dirge. Dirge is the death song. You're the death song of the dying year, to which this closing night will be the dome of a vast sepulchre. And this after this night, this year will go and take its place in history. A big grave will be built on it. It will lie forever in history. Okay, so it will, what he's saying, this closing night will be the dome, as if the year is going to lie in a big grave, and this night is going to become the dome or the cover. It is going to cover. It's going to end, cover the year forever. Vaulted with all thy congregated might, and this night is vaulted. It is this cover or this vault or is powered by your congregated might. Congregated means your collected might. How you are, and what is the collected might of? Vapors. I told you, evaporation, from whose solid atmosphere, this night, with all its might of the west wind, with its vapors, its thunder, its lightning, its rain, its hail, it will, from whose solid atmosphere, from whose solid life, being, black rain, fire, and hail will burst. Oh, here, black rain means horrible, because it's night. So when it's going to rain, it's going to look like really dreary and scary and black. And fire, it's going to be lightning. It's going to be very thunderous. And hail, there will be maybe some kind of hailstorm in the night. Everything will just burst out of Mother Nature, out of the clouds, out of the west wind. And he says, oh west wind, please hear me, because I am here to sort of tell you how powerful you are. I want to talk to you because of your power. I want to talk to you because you're so powerful. And I want to tell you where I am in comparison to you. When I was young, I was also this powerful. But today, I'm not. So, he's going to talk in the next stanzas. The next stanza is going to be, first we did the action of west wind on earth. Then we did action of west wind in the air. Then you will do action of west wind in the sea. Then you will do west wind and Shelley talking to each other. And then finally, he establishes that without the help of west wind, he cannot do anything. Thank you, children.